Good morning. I'm Tim Farnham with Black Label Real Estate here in San Francisco, and this is your Monday morning market update. In this video series, I'm going to review what happened last week in the San Francisco housing market. The good, the bad, the ugly, this is what happened. So we've been seeing in the media a lot about market crashing, this and that and the other thing. And I just want to get your opinion on if we're actually in a market crash. So I pulled up a lot of data and I would love to get your guys' opinion on this. So this is what's going on. We did have an inventory buildup from the beginning of the year. Right now we're sitting at just over 1,200 houses. We're also seeing this red line on the bottom there is the new homes. New homes hitting the market have been gradually decreasing, whereas the contingent homes and the available homes seem to be reasonably steady. So right now, in terms of new homes and closed homes, we're sitting about the same. For instance, this last week, there were 107 new homes hit the market and 106 homes closed. So we're at about an equilibrium there. If we move on and look at just the condo market, we'll see that availability is down by 10 in the under $1 million segment, and it is down by 31 in the over $1 million segment. New homes are down by 8 in the under and down by 18 in the over $1 million segment. This is, in my opinion, kind of normal for the end of summer. A lot of people are going on vacation. A lot of people are very, very busy. And so in San Francisco especially, we kind of call this the summer slump of where just less people are listing their homes kind of in the middle of summer. What most people expect is a little uptick at the end of summer as people start thinking about schools. And that's when we also see a lot of buyer activity because people want to get into their new homes before the school year starts. So, we'll see how that pans out. When we look at the sales price to list price of these homes that are hitting the market, you can see in the under $1 million segment, in the under $1 million segment, you can see that we're actually at 100%. So in the last 30 days, what that's saying is that the homes that hit the market that did sell averaged at about list price in the under $1 million segment. However, in the over $1 million segment, it looks like they're still going for about 8% above list. So, is that a market crash? I don't know. Let's look at the single family home market. In the under $1 million segment, again, we're up by 3 homes, which is not that significant. In the under $2 million segment, so the $1 to $2 million segment, we're down by 19 homes. So that's a little bit of a slump. New homes were down by 17 in that $1 to $2 million segment. In the under $1 million segment, we were down by 3. That's kind of significant. The back on markets, you can see that those are pretty low. We only had 1 in each category, and that's down by 6 from last week. So the back on markets is, again, pretty low. And I think that's because buyers are adjusting to the new interest rates. And so they go into contract and they actually can, the interest rates don't adjust and they can still actually afford them. In the sales price to list price, let's look at the 2 categories. In the under $1 million segment, we're still at 108% of list price. So things are still going above list. In the $1 to $2 million segment, we're seeing the same thing. Yeah, we're down from last week at 117%, but we are still at 113% above ask. So if the home is listed at 1.5 and it was a good home and it was well priced, it's still going for 1.65, 1.7 million in most cases. Days on market, again, tell me if this is a market crash. We're seeing 18 days for the under $1 million segment and 25 days for the under $2 million segment. It is up 5 days though in that $1 to $2 million segment. Last week we're at 20 days, now we're at 25. It's coming up a little bit, but is that a market crash? I don't think so, but I'd love to get your opinion. So let's look at the luxury home market. In the under $3 million segment, we have 52 homes available and 8 new homes hit the market. Not that big of a change from last week. In the over $3 million segment, we have 60 homes currently available, and the new homes are there were 3 new homes that hit the market. So again, not that big of a change there. Back on markets, we're very low, 1 and 2. Again, people are just getting used to the new prices, and just when they finally get a secured offer, they don't want to back out. That's why those back on markets are also pretty low. Price reductions, again, are pretty much non-existent in either of these categories. Pending listings are down just a slight. That's not a big difference in my opinion, just down by 2 from last week. Closed listings, look at that. We were up by 5 in the $2 to $3 million segment, but we were down to 0 in the over $3 million segment. And, just for clarification, if it says 0 homes closed, that means 3 weeks ago, when we had that holiday, that nobody was buying homes and going into contract, which actually makes sense as part of that summer slump that we're having. Days on market, again, in that $2 to $3 million segment, we're at 21 days, which is still very much what most people would consider a seller's market. If it's under a month, it is still a seller's market. In the over $3 million, now we're at 41 days. So you can definitely tell how that's creeped up over the past half a year since January. New listing price, the sales price to list price is still at 107% of list. So again, if it listed for $2.5 million at 7% above list, it's still going for 2.8, 2.9, 2.7 on average. So it tells you that it's still pretty competitive because things are still going up over list. Most homes are not lasting even 3 weeks. So it does look like even in the luxury market, in that under $3 million segment, things are still kind of competitive. But in that over $3 million segment, it does look like we're seeing a bit of a slowdown. Let's look at our buyer indicators again. When we look at this, we've got 80 price reductions this week, and almost all of those were in the condo market. So again, like the condo market is definitely it is getting to be more of a buyer's market now in the condo segment, because I want to say 70 or even maybe 73 of those 80 price reductions were in the condo segment. And when we look at the back on markets, we're down to 10. Which again, it just shows that once people do get into contract, they are not getting cold feet, and they knew what they were getting into. So that seems pretty reasonable for where we're at. So, this is where I'm happy to have this discussion. A lot of people are talking about a market crash, and I'm seeing, regional and national news, talking about housing prices tumbling, 10% here and 5% there. But in San Francisco, especially, I'm not really seeing that. But I would love to get your guys' opinion on that. Let me know in the comments below if you found this information useful. Again, hit the subscribe button, hit the notify button so that you can be the first to be informed when this information comes out. So anyway, I hope you guys did find this informative. Leave comments below. I'm happy to chat. One last thing, if you're thinking about moving to San Francisco in 9 days or 90 days, feel free to drop me a line. My contact information is in the description below. I would love to show you around town and help your move to San Francisco be as smooth as possible.